Introduction to Computers. Today is Monday. Last week we talked about programming, developing software. We talked about going from source code to object code to executable code, going from our programming language and either compiling or interpreting it, interpreting usually with scripts, down to where it's executable and it runs on a particular operating system. We talked about e-commerce. So it's huge in the world today. We're transferring money constantly, electronically, either business to business, customer to business, or customer to customer. All kinds of issues, all those transactions are stored. And then we've got the question if and how that information is used and by who. And then the whole issue of, for example, cyber terrorism, stopping the flow of electronic commerce, and just the idea that if you get your identity stolen, and the whole idea of people being able to make electronic transfers and so forth, and not really be you. Okay? We talked about artificial intelligence next. We looked at a number of examples of robotics. Tedious tasks that humans do. They can do certain tasks more accurately, like a robot helping a surgeon actually do surgery. We talked about robots going in dangerous places or doing dangerous things that humans shouldn't be doing. We talked about cool things robots can do that humans can't do, and so forth. The whole world of robotics. Then we talked about expert systems. The idea of building a knowledge base, and the knowledge base having a group of rules and an inference engine managing that knowledge base. Sort of the reverse of a database. A database, we access the database, and we ask the database a question and it gives us back the data. Here it's the opposite. The knowledge base asks us a question, then based on our answer, it uses the inference engines a lot, is designed to go through those rules to figure out what we need. For example, we did in class, if a car won't start, somebody could ask you, well, does the engine make any noise when you turn the key? And if somebody says yes, the engine makes a noise, it sounds like it's trying to start, somebody might then be able to eliminate that it's a dead battery. They might say, well, then it must be something else. If it doesn't make any noise, or it won't turn over and the lights don't work, well, then you'd say, well, start with a dead battery. That looks like that's, at least looks like what the problem would be. Knowledge bases work that way. They have this huge array of knowledge, either gathered from human experts or however it's put in there, and then has those rules and an inference engine to go through. You could use the example of the medical field. A doctor has an extremely large knowledge base about many different things, and he'll ask you questions, and based on your answers, he'll use his own inference rules and inference engine inside his head and work through whether one thing or another is wrong with you. The last example we used here is like shipping from UPS every day or FedEx every day. They get all those different packages and they can put them into an expert system, which will then look at all the addresses, and basically the expert system asks which addresses do we need to deliver to. Then based on those addresses it can design a route for the day based on the rules. We finished up talking a little bit about graphics and media and all these different types of files that represent media, whether it's video, sound and video, pictures, and charts and graphs representing numeric data. In graphic files, we have raster files that are bitmaps. We use dots to represent the picture, and then we have vectors. Like Adobe Illustrator does vectors, and it creates the graphic using algorithms and curves and dots, and not dots but curves and angles and lines, and the advantage of a vector graphic, like doing a logo, is you can resize it and it retains its quality, whereas a raster, if you resize a picture, you might change the quality of the picture. We talked a little bit about why we would use charts. This is a chart showing two things going up. The advantage of having a graphic or a visual for people to understand numbers rather than just have the numbers. Anytime we deal with graphics and all this different type of media, we have to be concerned about bandwidth, because in order to create a video in a digital form, it takes a lot of bits. And so we have to be concerned with if we can move them all fast enough. And that is it for today. We have the final on Wednesday.